1st, 1992, Ahmed Ajaj and Ramzi Youssef entered the United States together. Ajaj is arrested at Kennedy Airport in New York City. Youssef is not arrested, and later he would go on to mastermind the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The U.S. government was pretty sure Ajaj was a terrorist from the moment he stepped foot on U.S. soil, because his suitcases were stuffed with fake passports, fake IDs, and a cheat sheet on how to lie to U.S. immigration inspectors, plus 2 handwritten notebooks filled with bomb receipts, 6 bomb-making manuals, 4 how to videotape concerning weaponry, and an advanced guide to surveillance training. However, Ajaj is charged only with passport fraud and serves a 6-month sentence. From prison, Ajaj would frequently make phone calls to Ramzi Youssef and vice versa, as well as others that were involved in the 93 World Trade Center plot. But no one translates the calls until long after the bombing. Ajaj is released from prison 3 days after the World Trade Center bombing, but is later rearrested and sentenced to more than 160 years in prison. One of the manuals seized from Ajaj is horribly mistranslated for the trial. For instance, the title of the page is said to have been entitled The Basic Rule, published in Jordan in 1982, when in fact the title says Al-Qaeda, meaning the base in English, published in Afghanistan in 1989. Investigators would later complain that a proper translation could have shown an earlier connection between Al-Qaeda and the World Trade Center bombing, even though bin Laden had not known about Ahmed Ajaj or Ramzi Youssef. An Israeli Newsweekly later reports that the Palestinian Ahmed Ajaj may have very well been a mole for the Israeli Mossad. The Village Voice in 1994 also reported and suggested that Ajaj may have had advanced knowledge of the World Trade Center bombing, in which he shared with the Israeli Mossad, and that the Mossad, for whatever reason, kept the secret to themselves. Ajaj was not just knowledgeable, but was involved in the planning of the bombing from his prison cell. On January 24, 1994, the Boston Herald will report that an internal CIA report has concluded that the agency is partly culpable for the bombing because it helped train and support some of the bombers through Operation Cyclone, which was arming and training the Afghan-Arabs in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union. One source with knowledge of the report would say it was determined that a significant amount of blowback appeared to have occurred. A U.S. intelligence source claims that the CIA gave at least $1 billion in forces to the Afghan-Arabs connected to Gulbuddin Hekmatyar of the Hizb-e-Islami army. More than half a dozen of the World Trade Center bombings of 1993 belonged to this faction, and some of the CIA money paid for that training. The source would later go on to say, by giving these people the funding that we did, a situation was created in which it could be safely argued that we helped bomb the World Trade Center by training these people. Those connected to the bombing who went to the Afghans war included Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman, Clement Rodney Hantiel, Siddiq Ali, Ahmed Ajaj, and Mahmoud Abalima. Additionally, Ramzi Youssef trained in Afghanistan near the end of the Afghan war, and there are claims that he was recruited by the CIA in the late 1980s. Intelligence sources say that the CIA used the Kifah Refugee Center in Brooklyn, founded to support the Afghan rebels fighting Soviet occupation, to funnel aid to Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, setting the stage for the terrorists to acquire the money, guns, and training needed to attack the World Trade Center. CIA support also made it easier for alleged terrorist leaders to enter the country.